Hi, this is Sheila with Conscious
All right, there it
Conversation
is.
Central, and today is Thursday, August the 27th, 2020, and I have a new friend that I'm just now meeting for the first time, Isabel Montero. I'm so excited to connect with you, Isabel, and I'll tell everybody how we connected after you get a chance to say hello.
All right. Hey, everyone. I'm Isabel. I'm the Zero Manifested on YouTube and Instagram if you want to check me out there. Just Isabel Montero, plain as possible on Facebook. And basically, I've been doing this pretty much since I was a kid. But I mean, actually, some concerted effort, because, in the beginning, you're not that consistent, and practice for about 10 years. And I started mostly with just meditation, spending time in the woods. I was vegan, and then I wasn't vegan, and now I just eat whatever I want, essentially. But I stay more plant-based. I tend to. So this is really just experimenting and what works for me. And then over time, I've been able to share my gifts with others and help other people, um, because I do offer readings and then I do channel also. So that's my way of sort of like being able to give back to people
Right.
and help them along their path. Just like how even if you don't have someone physically helping you, you always have entities, ancestors, certain spirits and deities that you resonate with that are always assisting you along your path. Well, it's just, are you going to realize it or not?
Right, right. Well, to share with everyone how we sort of came in contact, and just to let everyone know, all the links for how you can connect with Isabel will be in the show more section of this video. So just click down in the show more section where you'll see the description. My viewers know the drill. They know to look there in how to connect with you personally,
Okay.
because um, Isabel happened to see one of my videos where I
It
was,
actually
go
it
ahead.
came up as it came up as a recommended too, like randomly. I was like,
Oh,
what is
really?
this? Yeah.
Wow, that's very interesting because it is an older video that you actually saw and commented on.
Hmm.
I had a lot of my viewers will remember that I used to have uh, intuitive intel with Aluna K. Aluna K is
Hmm.
a gal over in Australia, and she has
Hmm.
her own YouTube channel, and she's not drawn to share her intel with me anymore, but that's cool, whatever. And I found her. Uh, I was reading a post that she had on Facebook that I happened to
Hmm.
come across, and
Hmm.
that's the video we're talking about.
Oh, okay, that's what it was. Because when I read it, I was like, oh, so you're probably tapping into the energy. Because I was like, man, this person sounds like they need someone to help them.
Well,
I was like, let me channel. So that was her energy then.
actually, that's why I reached out to you, because what I said in my comment back to you on YouTube
Hmm.
is that
Yeah.
you're not the first to tell me that.
It's a real thing. Yeah, I've been working with the Fae. Well, I could see them since I was a kid, but
Same.
yeah, I always could see them. And I've been, oh, I gotta show you something. Look, I just made this. I made a fairy wand.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, me and my boyfriend we went for a walk in the woods, and we went to this place that has like these really cool waterfalls. And when we were walking out, he was like, hey, this tree just offered us these sticks. And I was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to make a wand out of it. So this is all and this is a lot of broken jewelry and just herbs that I had around the house. So this is rose, passion flower, and just some twine or rope. And this was like an old headband or whatever that I just like ripped up. So I mean, yeah, you could do stuff like this. And
Yeah.
then I just bought the fairy forest deck, and I pulled a card to make sure that they, approved of it. Because I pulled out 4 cards, so I would have the energy there. I listened to nothing but fairy, like people's stories about them with the fae. And then for about, this is like 7 hours, 8 hours it took me to make it. And then at the end, when I was done, I pulled a card to make sure that they accepted it, and they did. So I was happy. I was like, oh, all this work, it worked.
That's awesome. Well, no, I was really appreciative of your offer, your generous offer, and that's why we started chatting back and forth in private message, and the desire to connect was really strong with both of us. So I really appreciate your doing that. I am opening up to my own gifts, and I know that I'm going at the pace that is meant to for me, and that is right for me. But I was very excited to hear that, well, first of all, that you channel, that was very interesting to me. And so I really don't have any kind of set thing for where our conversation um, needs to go or can go today, because we're really just meeting for the first time. So whatever you feel drawn to do or whatever, but I wanted to make it clear to folks that you do, because you have an actual a place that folks can go and see what all services you offer, because you have quite, I went and took
Oh
a look.
yeah,
You have,
I'm actually I'm gonna be putting back up my main website. I took it down for a while because I took a break for about 4 months or so. I totally disappeared off like social media. I only had my Instagram. I had to, sometimes you got to get things in life together. That was like my, I mean, how many dark night of the souls can you go through? But, but it was
yeah,
one of
as
the
soon as you
ones that,
ask that question, you'll find out.
yeah, they're endless, guys.
Right,
Just expect it to come up at some point or another. All that happens is that over time you get better at dealing with them.
right. That's what I
Um,
do.
so I took my website down and everything, and now and I'm just doing what spirit has been guiding me to do. So I've waited, and then now spirit is like, okay, it's time. And when I say spirit, it's basically it's just my own higher self. Like that's that, and then I only really deal with obviously Thoth, because he's my friend, and the Great Mother, and the Triple Goddess. I'll deal more with those archetypes because I found that even when you deal with masculine archetypes, if they don't acknowledge or are not aware of the mother, they tend to have something missing for me. They tend to be very cold and just not as loving or warm, or so I just don't tend to work with archetypes like that. And most like gods, goddesses, entities will actually have a counterpart. And so the channels that I've done with Sophia, it's more like all goddesses are essentially emanations of her. So, and then you have main goddesses that would embody the elements. So it's like earth, fire, wind, water. One of them, for example, is Set or Isis, and then she embodies the fire element, but she's also known as the goddess of 10,000 names. So it's showing you how all the sum of the parts equals the whole. So we're all emanations of this divine goddess, and even the masculine energy is truly just a part of the feminine energy. It's all one at the end of the day. Like no matter which way you go with it, it just depends on how you would like to express yourself.
Well, I love that actually, because one of the things that I've felt for a very long time is that we are all one and yet singular. And that's the entire
Mm-hmm.
purpose
Mm-hmm.
of what we're doing here is
Exactly.
experiences. And truthfully, for me, the only thing that really separates any of us is the experiential filter, if you will, that we have had since we've decided to take this physical form, because
Mm-hmm.
it's our experiences that have informed us, right? And because I have had some,
Or did we form our experiences?
well, I think it's both actually,
Yeah, could
right?
be. Yeah,
Because
co-creation.
I really think that we are all, as the one that is the all and yet singular in the many,
Uh-huh.
that
Uh-huh.
makes us all, like you said, emanations of of that one.
Yeah, like a
Yeah.
universal consciousness. Yeah, absolutely. And that's one thing that I tend to talk about a lot too. That's one thing I actually loved about your channel when I started. I watched like 3, 4 of your videos, and I was like, yes, we think the same. So, one thing that I talk about a lot is your uniqueness and how important it is for every person. First of all, I talk about soul sovereignty. My main message I came with was soul sovereignty. I want every soul to express themselves fully. And the thing is that even in relationships, we tend to put constraints on people once we fall in love, and then we get scared. We can't fall in love and just leave our heart open, right? We have to fall in love and be scared. Oh, my heart. I always think that's so fun. My heart, don't touch me. That's how we get. But the whole thing is that truly we don't like, if we love somebody truly and unconditionally, we should want them to be who they are unconditionally. And then the compromise comes in when it's like, okay, well, these are the rules and parameters of our relationship. This is what I'm comfortable with. Are you comfortable with that as well? And then you make an agreement that the two of you, and you know, those conversations will come up naturally over time anyway, as one person does something that hurts the other person, and then they got to sit down and talk about it and make a rule. It comes up naturally over time. But once we start violating someone's free will, then and once we start trying to take away other people's free will, we take away our own free will. That's how
right.
I've always looked at it. So that's why I look at it like, and this isn't like, I mean, it's a fun process for me because I'm constantly finding like new ways to allow others to be themselves completely. And I can feel within myself more energy awakening, and more energy becoming more expansive is a good term for it.
I like the way you express that, and I have to agree with you. I mean, you know, uh, the age that I am, I've had lots of relationships. You know, and I can see now that I'm not in a relationship, I can see very clearly where the
Mm-hmm.
limits where I've limited myself, and also
Mm-hmm.
limited the other, which is not
Mm-hmm.
what I wish to do, you know? So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That makes a lot of sense. And then that's where we see it when we get a mirror. Sometimes you may get a dirty mirror. Sometimes so you don't realize it's a mirror. Sometimes you get a very clear mirror where you're like, you are a lot like me.
Yeah.
And either way, like any relationship you have is like a mirror. You're mirroring each other and showing each other the parts that you want to grow in and work on. So relationships, even though they're hard, they're really a gift. They're really hard though, but they're really a gift. I'm just like, they're work, but they're a gift at the end of the day. And even if you hate your ex, you can still honor them by telling them thank you, because going through that experience helped you recognize an aspect of yourself. It might have just, the experience alone, they might have been so restrictive that the experience alone was only to teach you that you actually deserve your own soul sovereignty and freedom, and it teach you to have a little bit of a backbone. So just be thankful for it. And then after that, you're changed. So it's uncomfortable transmutation, but it's transmutation,
Right.
still.
I agree. I agree. And I love what you said about soul sovereignty, because I really feel like that is the main and prevailing energetic right now on earth in toto, is coming into your sovereignty in every way, being not just it's you know, accountable, reliable, responsible for self in every facet
Uh-huh.
of my life. That is to me what sovereignty actually is. And I,
Mm-hmm.
I've sort of especially with what's been going on on the world stage right now, it
Mm-hmm.
feels very clear to me that that is, um, that's what's up right now. It's you
Something
could,
we have to, yes, it's something that it's just so strange that like over time I actually developed that, and then it ended up kind of being something that works for the times now. But I've been talking about this for almost 2 years already. And I'm just like, hey guys, soul sovereignty. So, and then the more I talked about it, the more, um, I found ways to set myself free. And energetically, the more we can spread that message, the more I'm like, hey, I love you for your uniqueness. I just want you to be yourself. The more I go to every single person I can, every single person I work with, I truly believe that like every life I touch, it's my biggest desire and hope that they are completely changed and that they are completely confident on their path, whatever their path is, because there's no judgment as far as what your path is. Um, and I want them to just step into their, because then source, so then the all really gets to express itself in a bigger way, and it's just like what the world would be so much more fun that way. It would be so much more. Just imagine the people you would meet if everybody was in alignment with their own soul.
well, what I noticed for myself as I have gone through a lot of the expansion that I think we are all experiencing in lots of, like you said, very unique and different ways. What I've noticed
Mm-hmm.
in regards to that
Mm-hmm.
for myself is that, for one thing, being open to seeing where we have all, and no one on this planet has escaped the programming and conditioning of, we all have to march this way. We all have to stand in line, and we all, because it starts from the time we're
So
very
true.
little, very, very little, in that the parent says, oh, you can't do that. Don't do that. The idea that something
Your
or
parents, yeah,
yeah, something,
your mother is your first
yeah,
programmer.
right. And it's
Yeah.
not that it's not that, because we've all done it, and we've all done it to each other.
Uh-huh.
But now we can
Mm-hmm.
wake up to that. We can wake up to that and see that
Right.
perhaps that wasn't the
Right.
best way to go about it, and
Yeah.
and begin to stand in our own sovereignty. And I really feel like, especially right now, what's going on the world stage is such a metaphor for everyone seeing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it really is.
Exactly. Yeah. Um, it's over here. Um, yeah, that's basically what it is right now. And I think that it just got to a point where we've become, I think so many people have become so apathetic. Because this path is not easy. It's not for the faint of heart. You're going to be tested. And any person who's not tested to be true, you might have a whole like mental breakdown or whatever. And it's because of your own dishonesty to yourself. It's not that you're deceiving everyone else.
Right.
It's that you've been deceiving yourself the whole time. And you can mess around with spirituality. At some point or another, you're going to hit a level where your soul is going to smack you in the face. It's your own higher self, inner self, your own soul. It's going to smack you in the face and be like, wake up and stop lying to yourself.
Yeah. No, I think you're exactly correct on that. But we've all come to it so honestly by giving our power away to
Mm-hmm.
those that have purported to know better, or have gone,
Right.
I mean, I use myself
Right.
as a huge example of that because of my own journey with my health, and giving my power away to all the doctors, because they went to school and they know better. They can tell me what's going on inside my own body better than I can.
Right.
I gave
Right.
my power willingly, begging them, quite frankly, to help me. It
Right.
was not until I actually took my power back into my own hands and began to look at things for myself, research them and try them, see, will
Mm-hmm.
this work for me? No, that won't work for me. Let's see, will this work for me? No, that won't. And we all have that power. We're just not
Mm-hmm.
convinced that we do because, again, of that programming and conditioning. So opening oneself up to just be open and consider things in a different
Mm-hmm.
way, from a different perspective. Because when you look at
Exactly.
anything, it doesn't matter what it is, you look at me straight on, you can't tell I got a really long chin until I turn. And then I look this way. And I got the witchy poo chin, but you don't know that from looking at me straight on. And that's what I
Right.
really feel like, we're all figuring out how to do that now. And I think that's a really beautiful thing.
Yeah, and it takes a measure of personal responsibility, and what many individuals, I won't say we, because I know I haven't, and I'm not going to consent to like being an aspect of this energy, that because we no longer have to keep acquiescing or keep giving away our power. So I'm not even gonna like speak it. Like, we're not doing it anymore. Do
That's
not
right.
consent. Say no. Say you're not giving your power away. It's the most important thing that you can honestly do. Um, I think what happened was, over time, each individual started. All right, so we have a system that's already set up where it's like, are you going to be adventurous? Even something as simple as starting a business, just being a regular everyday Joe Schmo that's like, hey, I'm going to start my own business. I mean, the amount of effort that you have to put in just to start a business is incredible. Thankfully for the internet, a lot of us can start businesses online, and they can be successful, and you don't have so much overhead. But you figure, you go into the world, there's already a system set up for you. Elementary school, middle school, high school, you go to college, you get a job, and that system started breaking down. If that system didn't start breaking down, I fear that people would have never changed. I fear that people would have never found the strength within themselves to be like, no, things have to be better than this. It has to be different. So the fact that everything is chaotic right now and everything is breaking down is going to give a lot of people time to really think, like, is this what I really want? Or do I want to help create um, a world that's just better than this, where we can all work together and where we can all have personal responsibility. I think a lot of what's going on too is uh, our unhealed shadow. Honestly, I think a lot of it is us, many individuals not healing their shadow. So then there becomes a collective sort of underbelly of like sludge that builds up etherically. So this builds up in realms. This energy. It isn't just, well, if I don't talk about, or if I don't feel it out, at least, what I did to this person or that person or whatever, the first person you got to forgive is yourself.
Yep. That's
And then
true.
once you can forgive yourself, you can forgive the other person.
Yep.
And then you can let go of all that anger, animosity, and pain. Everybody thinks that energy is in the oceans, in the big junk piles, the big piles of just garbage in the ocean. That energy is in our air. That energy, it's in the planet. Thankfully, our mother, Mama Gaia, she knows how to. All right, well, let me contain this energy for now so it doesn't taint everything. But many of us are just not as skilled with our own bodies as the earth is with her own body. So we don't know how to compartmentalize that. So that energy ends up affecting all of our systems energetically. Energetically, how you get energetic blocks in your body, a lot of times is through trauma and unhealed emotion. So if I'm a very angry person, or if I closed my heart and I'm very guarded, I may have issues with my kidneys. and there may be an energy, because the heart, the kidneys are intimately connected there. And it's funny too, because then you think about the element of water, because that's what the kidneys filter everything. So you think about, okay, well, the element of water, who doesn't love going into the ocean and going for a nice swim? Who doesn't love taking a nice bath? I mean, those are the moments where some of us spiritualists might have the best cry in a bath. And I mean, like, really, really nice spiritual bath where you can just release, come out renewed and refreshed. That crying, that action of releasing the emotion actually is one of the steps you can take to clear it from the energetic body. And then once it's cleared from the energetic body, you won't have illness as much. I haven't gotten sick and I haven't been perfect. My body, every time something feels off, even for example, my hips were hurting the last 2 days. So I did some yoga and I'll stretch and I'll meditate on it. I'll send energy to the area and figure out what it was. So what it was I figured, I know my body, I figured it out. What it was that I'm just purging old energy right now. So my body is like, that energy there, it almost is like a pressure where energetically I'm delivering or like releasing, just the way a mother would release a child from her womb. I'm releasing that old energy. So when you start to tap in through meditation, through just taking walks in the woods, through exercise, and it doesn't have to be nothing complicated. You can just walk. You can just decide you want to do a little yoga and stretching and reconnect. You can decide that you just want to do a little deep breathing. I mean, people look at meditation as like, I'm terrified. When I'm like, you guys do realize that there's more than one form of meditation. You don't have to just sit there. You can go for a walk, put your 432 hertz tones in, and just let your mind zone out. Whenever you're in the shower and you just let your mind zone out, you're essentially doing a meditation.
Yep, I agree. I'm one of those that had a really hard time trying to meditate the way, they tell you, clear your mind. My mind will not shut up a lot of times. So I had real issue with that, but I exactly what you said. I found my own way. This is one of the things that I've talked about on this channel quite a bit, is that there is no one way to do anything. On my channel,
Truth.
I actually have, I started a playlist that's called DIY Ascension, because in truth, there are as many ways to expand your being as there are beings on the planet.
Exactly.
Yeah, each one of us will find our own unique way. Part of the thing with me is I call myself a puzzle piece collector, because every being I come in contact with and I feel drawn to has a piece of the overall puzzle that I am desirous of. I might not find it right away, but ultimately every single time I like if I'm drawn to a video and I don't even know why, right? I don't know why I'm drawn.
That's so me. I'm like, what is this? Jewish guy talking about the Kabbalah and geometry? Sign me up.
Well,
And it's
I'll
like
be honest
old
with you.
from like the 90s.
Right. I have sat through an entire 2-hour video and I'm wondering, okay, why was I drawn here? And there might be only one sentence in the entire video, but that was the reason I was drawn.
Yep. And you know what? Those are what I consider like everyday miracles. I remember one time, this girl that I used to, we used to chat here and there. And I remember one time she was talking to me, and the one thing she told me that really shifted my perspective was that, because I'm pretty androgynous. I can switch in between my masculine and feminine energy pretty easily. But she's like, instead of switching, being totally in your masculine or totally in your feminine, she's like, why not bring them together, have them have a conversation, and blend them? That way you can be in both at the same time. And I just, mind blowing. I'm like, makes so much sense. I've been balancing them separate. It's time to bring the energy together. And like, I call those like miracles, because those little tidbits that we find along the way really actually change our perspective about life completely. And those are the things that it almost feels like it saves your soul. Like it's like, yes, I needed that.
Well, see now, just that statement, that experience that you shared with me right there tells me very clearly that you are open. You see, the thing of it is that what I have found in some cases, not as much anymore, because I think everybody is finally getting to that point, right? Where,
right.
But being open to considering another perspective or point of view on something is important, because
absolutely,
we kind of get into what I have called confirmation bias. In other words, if it doesn't fit whatever narrative has been spun, most particularly one way or the other, then people will tend to dismiss. Oh, well, that person, I can't listen to them because they don't think this or that or the other thing, and now that's not how I think or feel. And so it will be a dismiss, even though they've been drawn, instead of remaining open, allowing the information to wash in. Because, hey, nobody's asking anybody to get married here. We're talking about being open. It's like sitting down and having a cup of coffee and a chat with a friend. Nobody's asking for commitment.
Yeah.
Right. And so being open to considering everything is, to me, the very bottom line, for me anyway. Being open to hearing other and multiple others.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Absolutely. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can. It looks like maybe we're having a little
okay.
connection.
Yeah, no, my side was connection issue. Yeah, my side was breaking up a little bit, and my Wi-Fi is real weird in this area sometimes. So it's all right. We'll move through it. So in regards to that, hey man, you gotta look at it this way. And I just pulled the wand back up. You gotta think of it this way. When the world was filled with mages and gypsies and wise women, right, and wise men even, everybody did things their own way, and nobody and whatever worked for one person might not necessarily work for someone else, because they're two different people. Also, I just want to share this so anyone that does see this can be inspired. I've never had two clients that had identical souls. I channel higher selves. My star seeds are kind of like, I have like a soft spot for them, because star seeds, their star parents are always so high vibrational. But I've channeled that for a friend of mine. I've done, I actually can bring an aspect of somebody's soul into my body to do distance energy work. And then I make sure I use sage after and chant, so that I give them all their energy back. Because that, if you're dealing with someone that's more negative leaning, they'll actually take some of your energy. And then I'll keep asking them, how do you feel? How does your energy feel? And then they'll be like, oh yeah, I'm great. I'll feel clear. But while I'm actually doing the work on them, if you look at them, you could tell a piece of their soul's actually gone, because they'll be like this and just like tired. And then I give it back and they're like, wow, I feel great. Wow, I could feel actually with the work you did. And then I always ask the higher self if it's okay. I always ask the higher self. I ask them and their higher self if it's okay, because work like that is so intimate. And the only reason why I've been gifted with the skill is because I have a code and I have integrity, so that I don't violate people's energy. Yeah, and so doing all this work and you know, getting to a space that I can actually effectively help people clear their energy bodies, deal with trauma. nobody could hide secrets because I could see, I go into people's subconscious mind a lot of times, and I'll go to like the dark, there's literal like dark corners of your mind. And it's always like childhood abuse. One person I had, they were abused in their country. And then when they came here, they were doing the same thing to other people, but they were in like a gang or something. And so over there, they were the one that used to get beat up all the time and stuff. And I actually, it was very like, wow. So I could see what he did over there and how he did that to others over here. And I was able to help him work through that and heal and release the guilt from that. Because he's like, I'm not this person anymore. Like, that was like years ago when I was young or whatever. Like, I'm not like that. And the guilt was what was doing it to him. And I'm just basically sharing all this, even with all those people, all the people I've dealt with over the last about 2 years. I've been doing this, I think a year and a half, 2 years. One thing I've noticed is that every single soul is completely different. So wouldn't it make sense that we all do things our own way here, right? When we're truly expressing our uniqueness, nobody is the same. I mean, like, and every time I deal with people that are like, really like, I just love seeing all these different souls. It's like learning something new, because every soul has a different aspect, a different thing to teach you, has a different aspect of self that they want to work on or that they want to get in touch with. You know, I love it so much because everybody is so different and everybody is so amazing and so unique. And when we can start to appreciate other people's uniqueness and their beauty, then we can start to appreciate our own uniqueness and beauty. And then obviously too, release your guilt, release your trauma. Guilt is a big one that a lot of people have.
No, I'm in full agreement with that. Guilt and shame. Guilt and shame.
Guilt and shame.
They generally go
Yeah,
hand in hand.
Especially if people were sexually abused. Because I was abused when I was a child. I was molested. I was able to forgive my uncle at 16 though. So, and it was married in, not one of my uncles. It was one of the ones that's married in. It's always the one that's married in, isn't it?
Actually, sometimes no. I'm not sure. I don't have any.
Sometimes no. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No. I mean, it's unfortunate, but I mean, I happen to know of a few that it wasn't a married in uncle. It's actually in the case of my own mother.
Blood uncle.
No.
Yeah.
And in the case of my own mother, it was her actual biological father. So that does happen.
And that's even a lot. Yeah, I know that's even a lot harder to deal with. But the thing is, when you start to clear your energy body, and then you can move back and clear trauma younger and younger. I remember trauma from as young as 6 months old, sexual abuse.
Yeah.
And I could see it. And I was literally in my baby body. Like, I was like, whoa, I'm like here right now. So the more I went into my meditation, and we'll go further and further back, because I was on a mission to heal. I was like, I will heal from all this trauma. And healing from that was layers and layers and layers. And even though I was able to forgive at 16, and how I forgave was really beautiful. I remember I was on a train one day and I started crying, and I'm the type of person that likes to be happy. My natural state is joy, and joy right behind you. That's my natural state. And, man, I just felt so bad. And the abuse had stopped at that point because I was already older. I stopped it. I stopped it by running away one day. And basically I decided that I just didn't want to feel like this, that I couldn't hold it inside of my heart anymore. So on that train that day, I cried. Thankfully there wasn't a bunch of people on there, but I cried and I just let it go. I literally was like, you know what? I can't hold on to this anymore. I just have to let it go. And so I let it go. I let myself feel love instead of that pain. Sort of like the love was replacing the pain. And then I remember my grandmother came up from Puerto Rico. So obviously I had to see my grandma. She's so great. And for Christmas. And then Puerto Ricans also do the Three Kings. It's like a big holiday for us. But that's connected in a different way. So, because it's the Orion's belt, it's a big thing. Anyway, so I went, and I remember that day, that man that abused me when I was a child kept walking up to me, asking me if I wanted something to eat. It was the weirdest thing. And I'm just like, no, I'm okay. Like, I already ate. I'm good. I got my own food. But he kept, hey, you want anything to eat? Can I get you anything? Do you need anything? And I was like, what's wrong with him? And remember, before that, I already forgave myself. I forgave him. I let it go. And at the end of the party, I went around, saying bye to everyone in my family. I got to him. And he just looked up at me and he says, can you forgive me? Man, I looked down at him. I said, I already have. And I know a lot of people that have been abused and are survivors of physical and sexual abuse never going to have that opportunity. I'm grateful that I did. And I had the opportunity. That doesn't mean this became my best friend and I'm hanging out at his house and stuff.
Right.
No, I wouldn't even bring my own child. Like, no, I wouldn't.
Right.
I wouldn't bring any children around him. Like, we're good. But it's a soul thing.
Right.
And obviously staying balanced, not getting so mushy that you think that now that you forgave this person, you got to go to this extreme and be friendly. You don't have to be friendly with these people. You don't have to be friendly with somebody you don't want to be friendly with. Just know whatever happened. You were able to forgive on some level and heal, which is a miracle. Consider it a miracle. Miracles happen every day you do not see.
Right.
The fact that you exist is a miracle. And move on with your life.
Yeah.
And there's still residual stuff that will come up to be healed.
Yeah, no, you're right about that too. I too had sort of a similar situation. I was an adult, but I was very clear when it happened, as to the reasons why and all of that. And I was also very clear. I was also very clear that the forgiveness that I allowed myself to not just forgive myself, but also him had to do, actually, honestly, it had more to do with me than it did with him and the
Right.
act itself, right?
Yeah.
Although they are tied together, but it was more for me than anything else. And so
it's really hard. It carries, the act itself, even as a child, carries a lot of shame.
right.
Whenever you're especially sexually abused, for men and women, because we leave out the men a lot, and it's not fair because so many men have been molested and raped, and there's been a lot of trauma that they haven't been able to express. And I don't think that it's fair that we don't let our men express themselves, and that we think that they're some sort of punk or something if they do. That's not fair.
No, it's
it's not fair to their soul.
You're absolutely right. I could not agree more. As a matter of fact, personally, I feel that when it's all said and done and everyone really truly is in touch with themselves, it is my contention. It's my contention that we will find that what we're speaking on now is actually more prevalent than anyone would ever have guessed or anyone would ever have known. And not just, like you said, not for just the women, it is the men as well, because there have been men in my life that I was very well aware had been abused as children by other men and women alike. And rather than, because of the whole thing about, well, boys don't cry, be a man, buck up, What's your problem? Instead of, because that's
Buck
a whole
up.
lot, yeah,
Yeah.
that's a whole lot of sweeping shit under the carpet. And I know
Right.
firsthand what that looks like after a while. Quite frankly, that is what is partly going on a whole bunch of different levels. Suppression and
Mm-hmm.
oppression of any kind of unhealed trauma, it does create, it creates, folks. And now we got a whole bunch of dark monsters chasing everybody around, that instead of turning and
And they're their own monsters.
right.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, that's one way of putting it, because man, it's real. And I do believe that, like, honestly, especially being in this country, I met so many people that were abused in one way or another or dealt with trauma. I would say that it's as high as 98 to 99% of people.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And
And
I know.
that's not, and it's men and women, and with men it might be a tiny bit lower, but a lot of men suffer physical abuse from their fathers and stuff like that, and then sexual abuse too. So that stuff all needs to be addressed. And I just want men to know that it's safe to talk about it.
Yeah,
Nobody's gonna judge you or think less of you.
no, exactly. I agree.
Like,
I
it's like,
agree.
this is like, it's a safe space. You're safe. You're safe.
Yeah,
And we need to let them know that they're safe. As women, we spiritually protect men. It's our job
yep.
to
No, I
protect them. So
agree.
if these men are being violated like this, then we're not doing our job. We're not protecting our men spiritually.
I'm in full agreement with what you're saying there. And it's really unfortunate that there are a lot of men, however, because I mean, I can speak to this as I've had this in my own life,
Mm-hmm.
where you know
Mm-hmm.
that the man has been traumatized, and
Mm-hmm.
you are desirous of that being healed, but they're so afraid
Mm-hmm.
to speak on it,
Mm-hmm.
and they also think, well, that's in the past and I don't want to think about it, I don't want to deal with it. But see, that's more suppression and oppression within that being
Yeah.
themselves. And so,
Right.
you know,
Right.
yeah, just like anything else, a
Well, yeah, when it
perfectly
comes to
normal,
that, hey, free will. They have free will to not heal.
that's
That's
right,
the whole thing about free will.
that's very true,
We're,
you're exactly
they have
correct.
they totally and it's so funny because spirit will always present us with opportunities to heal,
Yeah,
but never force it on us.
no, that's right,
It's
that's
never forced. So
right.
this is why you don't force, or a lot of people do this in politics for some reason, but they force or they shove ideologies and ideas and things down each other's throats, instead of being like, okay, I understand this, but I don't really get that. A good exercise that I did from when I was about 15, or because I did debate, journalism, politics. I was really into politics. I'm not really into politics. I don't even vote. I'm like, you know what? Spirituality is gonna save us, not voting. So I'm not voting. But because when I was in high school, I wanted to become a political journalist. Um, so that's why I was doing debate. And then I was on the school newspaper, and economics, stuff like that. I used to always, anywhere where I could learn how to, like, rhetoric and arguing. And I mean, I took sociology, psychology in high school, philosophy, all AP classes except for math. I'm really bad at math. So, I mean, like, I was really into it at one point. Like, it was like my thing. And I started doing this exercise. And I think maybe it might be from debate I learned how to do it. But the exercise is essentially pick about 10 minutes a day where you have a little bit of free time. It could be even in between commercials while you're watching TV, in between commercials. Pick an idea with two sides. Doesn't matter what it is. It could be any topic, any conversation, whatever is interesting to you. Pick an idea that you know, or that you can see two opposing arguments for. Argue them in your mind to yourself. And I did this because I was like this. So I did this very naturally. from when I was, and this is what makes you more open-minded, and it also gives you neuroplasticity, where at new ideas that you won't just close up and clam up. You'll be able to take a little more time to actually sit and think about it. So if you do that exercise, I don't care if you're watching TV, you want to do it in between commercials while you're washing dishes. And it's a lot of fun too to think. And then when you do debate, you have to learn the other person's argument, because otherwise you'll never be a good debater. So yeah, that's just my little increasing neuroplasticity out here.
I actually like that. And I think that's good advice for anyone, actually. I really like that. Yeah. Wow. This has been really
a lot of stuff we did. Yeah, a lot of stuff
ahead.
we did as kids, or we did when we were young, we don't realize how effective they still are.
Yeah.
So if we can go back and mine our own techniques, and then like create more techniques like with the stuff that we used to do, you'd be amazed. You'd be amazed at how much you could tap in spiritually, like how much you really will get yourself to the next level.
No, I agree with that, because that's where the imagination comes in, as far as I'm concerned. You're exactly correct.
That's what Thoth was talking about last night, because I channeled Thoth last night, and he was mad about some of his hermetic principles, the hermetic laws being misused. He spit on my floor. Well, because when I channel, I let him in my body. So I'm a conscious channel though. So some channels, they go out of their body. No, we're both in my body. I'm here and he's here. And we're both. So like he likes to call me by my first name sometimes. And I'm like, no, don't call me by, I think he did yesterday though. Don't, because I don't use my first name. I only use my middle name. So like, it's interesting because when you channel, you actually, I want people to know to be careful when they channel, because you can get an archonic or a low or negative leaning sort of entity. I did this a long time. So, I essentially got the skill, and discernment I always say discernment's your first spiritual gift. So it's really important to be able to discern as well and learn discernment. A lot of people learn discernment through Christianity, actually. Much as everyone hates Christians, that's actually where you'll learn discernment. He was talking about that last night. And it's so funny you're talking about the imagination, because he was talking about the all is mind and the universe is mental. And he said that's not exactly correct. He said it would be more like, how did he say it? He said something like, the all is creative, and the mind is like the imagination. It was something like that. I got to get the exact words. I have to write it down. Once I write it down, I'll have it in my mind. But he said it more like that. And then he started laughing, and he goes, you guys are in a new place in the universe. Do you think the old laws still apply? And then he just starts laughing because he's so fit. He's just like,
I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that you did that last night. So that's up on your channel.
Oh yeah. Cause those, yeah. No, I gotta edit. I'll put it up on my channel today. I did it on my Facebook. Man, I do those at like 2-3 in the morning, literally. And it's almost like, hey, whoever's there, you're here for it. And if not, oh well, because we always do them pretty late. I think I did one early one time. But I'll wait till the timing is right to channel. Right. I won't just force the channel. I could, but I don't really like to do that. I like to wait for the right timing.
Right.
And then the channels end up being more effective. But yeah, he was tight last night. He cursed people. he was tight.
Okay. Well, I'm definitely, when we disconnect here, I definitely want you to send me the links that you want me to share, because I want everyone to be able to find.
Oh yeah, sure.
In every way, and that way I'll just copy them. You can send them to me, and I'll put them in the show more section, so everyone can get.
But that can't. Yeah, that comes back to what you were saying about the imagination and being creative.
Well, see, it's my contention that that is another one of those things that as children, we're programmed and conditioned out of it. Oh, that's just your imagination. Put the stop
Oh
being
yeah.
right.
Oh yeah.
But in truth, that is how we create because we are creators. I
Mhm.
know that. I've seen proof of that in my own life. And it is
Mhm.
through our imagination. Nothing in this physical realm has been created without the imagination having been engaged in some form or fashion. Nothing.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
It couldn't exist. You had even it just couldn't. Things wouldn't be here
No, that's
without you.
exactly right.
Like it's you. It's you. These are emanations of you.
Yep.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
Man, I forgot what I was gonna say.
Oh, well,
I had a point to
I
make, but it's
so
okay.
I don't know what you feel to do. I know that you did say that you had something else scheduled today and I want to be mindful of your time. So I
Oh
don't
yeah,
want
that's later. Later this afternoon, a client,
okay. Well,
and
I
then
didn't
I
know
think that's all I have though.
I didn't know what you wanted to do today. I know that you had mentioned something in regards to the Fae, and I am curious because there.
My Fae. Yes, I love the Fae. I love them so much. They're my babies. My babies. I love them. They're
Yeah,
great.
I think I
And
might
it's
have.
funny because
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. We
I've
have
been
such a
into like no,
delay.
I I've been into the Fae, dragons, like all of it. All of it. It's all amazing.
Yeah, same. Well, I think I mentioned in that video, I think I did, and I'm not because I talk so much to so many people, I don't know when I've said something and if I'm repeating myself because I'm also
Mm-hmm.
old, but um and old people sometimes do that, but
You are not old.
oh, you're so
Mm-hmm.
sweet. But when I was in the fourth grade, I had
Mm-hmm.
multiple experiences with the Fae. And
Mm-hmm.
I was, of course, so excited and shared all of what I was experiencing with anyone who would listen because, well, that's part
You
of who
sound
I
like
am.
me as a kid. Yeah,
Yeah.
you sound like me. Literally, I was the same way.
Well, I'm that way as an adult too. So don't get that twisted. Um, but it's really unfortunate that it was shut down. I mean, I was actually, they called my parents to my mom to the school because I was sharing it at school. I was, it got to the point where I was called a liar and I was sent away. I actually was. They sent me away to go live with a different grandmother because I just kept going on because it was the little girl's house around the corner that I was going to visit where
Mm-hmm.
they were there, and
Mm-hmm.
that's where and so in order to keep me from engaging, they sent me to a completely different state to live for the
Right, right, right. We talked about that.
yeah. So I don't really know. I like I said, I've had experiences
There
with
are different elementals everywhere anyway, so it's not like it's gonna stop you. All right, we don't have fae, but we have gnomes.
right.
So it's like then the gnomes are so funny because they mess with you more. Fairies will mess with you sometimes, especially more the dark fae. Because I started dealing with the dark fae got sent to me as protectors. So like but they're tricksters, just like how gnomes are, they're tricksters. So I remember I had a male one first, and they're bigger. They're not little. They're like big. They're like big. Like they look like a Smeagol kind of. So I had a male one first, and I sent him away because I remember when I lived up in New York, at my dad's house, we had like a porch, and I used to sit in the porch at night and just write because I was working on my master class, which I'm going to be revamping, and I'll probably be starting that back up in September. Um, So I was working on the course guide for my master class, and I felt him behind me reach out to touch me. Now I seen him walking through the house because they're shapeshifters. So I saw I thought my brother turned the corner, and I saw it right at the corner of my eye. And then I looked up and I was like, hold up. And then my brother came out of his room 2 seconds later, and I was like, didn't you just walk through the kitchen? He's like, no, what are you talking about? And I was like, damn, Faye. In my house. So this one reached out to touch me, and I got mad, so I sent it away. And then I got a female one, but she was a little more gentle. And then I got a baby one that was like green, and I asked him. I remember one day I walked in my bedroom and I saw him looking out the window, and it was the middle of the winter, which was weird because I don't see the Fae in the winter. And I was like, well, what do you see? I was like, because I was just like, okay, there's a fairy in my room. So I asked him, I go, well, what do you see when you look outside? And it's funny because all the snow was gone, and it was snowing too. And it was like the most perfect spring day. And I was just like, wow, that's incredible.
Wow. I'm just like blown away by all of your experiences, and we're going to have multiple conversations if you're up for it, because
Oh, definitely. Because I that's what I want to talk about to my witches out there. My wonderful witches, listen, ladies, it's okay to connect with spirits. Just be discerning. That's it. Because when I was younger, I had I don't know, an imaginary friend, but it wasn't imaginary. It was a spirit. And it was a tall man in a black suit. And he would always come and talk to me, and I would talk to him because I could see spirits from when I was a kid. And then at one point I got scared. I started reading all this stuff online, and I got scared, so I closed my crown chakra. Now it's open again, so, let the good times roll. But I just want people to know that, like, hey, guys, it's not, you're not crazy. You know what I mean?
Yes, and I wanted to point out something that you said and make it very clear, because this is something that I have felt all along as well. First of all, you said that you sent him away. Obviously, he went. So
Yeah.
it's not as though, and I too I've had some, not many, experiences of things that sometimes I didn't know what they were,
Right.
appearing in my field, like, just
Literally. Yeah.
right, whether I could see it or just feel it. I've
You still
shared.
see it. If you close your eyes, if you can feel it, close your eyes, you'll see it in your mind.
That's exactly where I actually saw this in this one particular case.
Yeah.
And I've shared with my viewers that it is my contention and my feeling that fear is nothing but an invitation, one that you do not have to accept.
It's true.
And
It's true.
so
I've done a lot of spiritual warfare,
mhm.
and it's one of my gifts. I just do everything because I love everything. So I'm just like, yeah, I'm channeling and I'm pulling entities off people. But I was watching YouTube one time, and there's this lady who's more into, I guess she's more into like African spirituality, and her name's Aphrodite Stone, and she was talking about how you could chant and get entities off you. So I was like, and just how we learn from each other, I was like, so I started doing it. And then all of a sudden, because I was already sensitive to people's energy body, I was able to start sensing entities on people. And I would go into spiritual warfare and pull entities off of people. A lot of cord cutting, the cord cuttings that I used to do, I don't offer them as much anymore. I can still do them. They're just very draining sometimes. It depends how many, and then there's layers. So I might pull off one entity, and then you might have something totally different connected to another aspect of your soul. So sometimes it might take time, but I was just I'd never had fear from when I was a little kid. I was the first one in a dark room. I was the first one when we had to get our shots and stuff. I would sit on the thing, put out my arm to the doctor and be like, hurry up. I don't got time for this. Like, not scared of anything. Like, literally, like, give me the dang. And we ain't getting vaccinations no more. I haven't gotten vaccinated in years, and I refuse now. But you know, when you're a kid, your parents are like, come on, get your shots. And I'm like, my brother and my sister would run around the room and hide. Maybe they were smarter than me. I don't know. But but I was just like, man, I do not have any fear. And an aspect of soul sovereignty is, and even though things might make me afraid, I choose to face them.
Thank you.
And
That's
and
me
to
too.
overcome them. Because that's one thing, is that people think that, oh, so that just means you're just so tough and you don't feel anything. Absolutely not. I feel it, but some weird thing clicks in my mind that I get excited to face it.
Ah, well, you know, the experience that I did have with this particular
Mm-hmm.
entity, I've since found out what it was. It was an aspect of me,
Mm-hmm.
and I had just done a soul retrieval ritual, and
Those are so fun.
like 2 weeks before,
Right.
and with Lisa Risingberry, and this entity showed up in my room, and I had remembered that little thing about not going into fear, because it is just an invitation, and some of these entities actually feed off of fear. And so,
Yeah.
you know, I just continually beamed love. I don't know why, but I just knew that it was an aspect of me being asked to be witnessed and loved into
Mm-hmm.
wholeness.
Yeah.
And
I
I
love
actually
that.
felt the integration. And by my description,
Mm-hmm.
when I went back and spoke with Lisa Risingberry about it, by my visual description that I got in my mind's eye, this was a dakini. And so it is an aspect of me. And
What is it called?
dakini.
What's that? I never
Well,
heard that word
and
before.
apparently it is an elemental. It's like an elemental goddess.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So there is that's why I said when you commented on that video in the way that you did, you're not the first one that has shared with me
Yeah.
that I have that connection and I've had that experience. And that's why you know, that is kind of why I was like, oh, wait a minute, what is
Yeah.
she?
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if it's your bloodline or past lives, but you guys did like kind of similar rituals to what like the druids used to do.
Now,
Oh, that's
out
interesting.
of
That just came
curiosity,
through. That's so interesting. Huh?
what, okay, so because we've only just met, you don't know a lot about me. What
I
did
don't
you
need to know
mean?
anything.
Right. Well, that's right. What did you mean when can you get a little bit more in regards to bloodline?
Yeah, that's more Akasha. Let me see. This is feels more matriarchal. Thank you, Akasha. Thank you, Mother. Are you left-handed?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, it's something to do with your left hand too. You can write spells with your left hand, and it will be really effective. More effective with your left hand on parchment paper and lead pencil, or like something organic, not like a pen. You got to use organic sort of ink. Your spell work is really, really powerful. Um, so so Akasha, is this a past life or is this a bloodline thing? Okay, you have magic in, or you have certain abilities that are passed on through the bloodline, but a lot of what you are experiencing, the greater magic that's within you, all past life stuff. This is a past life, which is why from time to time you might feel like you get your family and you're like, I get you guys, but like I don't. I get you, but there's a little that's not quite, it quite doesn't make sense to me the same way. So your family now would have been like close friends to the family that you were part of in your past life. They would have been like good friends. So almost like how flowers grow next to each other, and each flower is unique, but when they grow next to each other in the same soil, they'll have a lot of the same practices and beliefs. So it's kind of like that, but still, if you look at each flower, it could be a pink and purple flower, totally different vibration. You know what I mean? Even though they're sharing the same soil and they understand each other because they're right there to where they could observe one another. Some with parallel, you got a lot of stuff going on. Some with parallel timelines is coming up now. I'm like, all right, close the channel. But yeah, I won't tell all your secrets. I said enough with the spell work, but yeah.
Well, I really appreciate the connection with you, and I would really love if we could do this again.
Yeah, absolutely. I love this. I knew this was going to be great. And let's definitely do a whole thing just with our experiences, because people love stories with the fae and the elementals. And I think that would be like just fun to do. And yeah.
No, I love that idea. I love that idea. And I'm going to have you stay right there and don't go anywhere. And I want to say that if you are watching, if you guys are watching this on Conscious Conversation Central, I would love for you to go over to Isabel's channel, which I will have in the Show More section, and take a look at what she's doing over there and subscribe over there, and take a look at all of what she offers over there.
Thank you so much.
And if you're watching on Isabel's channel, come on over to Conscious Conversation Central and see if you like what you're hearing over here, and subscribe.
Absolutely.
And make sure to hit that notification bell twice in both places so that you're notified, because I go live on YouTube rather than on Facebook usually myself. But I know that you go live within your group too. And your Facebook group is called Cosmic Gang, right?
Cosmic Gang, yeah, this is us. We're everything.
I know.
Everybody's everything.
I love that shirt. So all the links will be in the Show More
Cosmic
section.
Gang, yeah.
And so until next time, thanks everybody. Mwah.
Bye.